Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to quickly go over what you're going to be working on today. This video has the instructions for both biology and biotechnology 1 and 2. So we're going to do biology first, so you might want to skip ahead a little bit if you're in biotech 1 or biotech 2. So for biology today, y'all are going to be doing the online simulation of the lab. You can find that under modules, Unit 5, and Thursday, October 22nd. So this is going to have all of what we're doing today. We're doing the enzyme lab virtually since I'm not able to come to class today. Then you're going to do a learning check and your summative review. So you can opt to do your learning check first. I would recommend doing the lab first. It's going to take a little bit of time. So go ahead and click on the lab. We're going to focus on this remote one. So follow the directions of this enzyme controlled reactions virtual lab. When you have completed the simulation, answer the analysis questions in the journal 1 through 5 and upload a copy of your answers. This simulation has ridiculous sound effects. So either if you have your headphones in, I would suggest turning them down a little bit. Or if you have your volume, like you don't have headphones plugged in, then definitely turn your volume down. All right, so you're going to read through this, read through the purpose and the objectives, then it gives you the procedure. So first you're going to click on this TV VCR because, fun fact, we didn't have the internet back when this simulation was made, and so we're watching the TV in the VCR. Click the play button on the video controller and then watch the animation about the enzymes. Then if you want, you can click more information to read about enzymes and substrates. You can also use your notes that we took yesterday to help answer these questions and get through this lab. To conduct the experiment, you're going to adjust the pH level of the test tube by clicking the up and down arrows. So that's over here, these up and down arrows. You can see that I can change the pH higher if I click the up arrow and lower if I click the down arrow. Next, you're going to add the substrate to the test tube so you can pick them up and move them. Click and drag the piece of weight paper with the powder substrate. So you're adding the substrate to these test tubes that have the enzyme in them, and you're assuming that the enzyme concentration is the same for all 5 tubes. So I have the same solution, I have the same amount of the same enzyme all in here. Once you do that, you're going to click the computer monitor to see the digital counter table that displays the number of product molecules formed during the first minute in each of the 5 tests. So if you remember, we have a substrate that binds to an enzyme, and after the reaction happens, we're left with a product. This table is going to tell you how much product you're left with based on the level of pH that you manipulate and the level of substrate that you manipulate. You're going to play around with this using different amounts of substrate at different pH levels. Remember, there's 2 things that enzymes are sensitive to, and we're manipulating one of them here. The other one is constant. If you forgot what those were, go back through your notes. After you've done all of the experiments and you feel like you get a gist of what's going on, you're going to click the journal button and answer these 5 questions. Now, you can type them here, but I highly recommend just creating a Google Doc and typing them out. You don't have to type the question, but you can copy and paste so that way you know what you're typing. And put all 5 answers in your Google Doc. The reason I say a Google Doc and not here is because when you get to the end, I've played around with it and I haven't figured out how to get that save function or the print to copy and paste the whole thing. So just to be on the safe side, I would type your answers in a separate Google Doc. Then I'll come over here, I will upload it, click Submit Assignment, attach that Google Doc here, and I will be good to go. It's really important that you pay attention to this lab because there's going to be questions on the summative related to this lab. Once I finish, I'm going to take the learning check. The learning check is two questions, kind of. There's an image that you have to answer a few questions about, and then there's a graph that you have to answer a few questions about. And then the last thing is the summative review. You go ahead and click on this. You will upload a copy, you'll make a copy and then fill it out, upload it here. And then when you've submitted it, I will send you the key in the feedback section. But this has to be completed in order to receive that key and make sure that you've done correctly. So again, for biology, you are doing the virtual enzyme lab. You are answering the questions in the journal and uploading them here. Then you will do the learning check. You have 3 attempts, so if you don't get all of them correct on the first go, do it all 3 times. And then lastly, you're working on the summative review. All right, for biotechnology 1, well, let's say Biotech 2 first. Biotech 2, you are working on a project. You all know what to do. I believe in you. May the force be with you. For Biotech 1, you are going to be doing some DNA paternity barcoding. So we're going to play Are You the Dad? Come down here to Thursday, October 22nd. Click on this link. And then you'll click on this one here. Make a copy. If y'all could put your answers in bold and in a soft color again, that was great. Those of you who did that the first time, I really, really appreciated it. All right, so what you have is a series of questions and DNA barcodes that relate to different scenarios. I'm going to tell you right now, go ahead and delete number 8. We didn't do it in the last class, or just ignore it, but you do not have to complete number 8. So up at the top, you're given a scenario and you're given the DNA barcodes. Now remember, we make DNA barcodes by putting DNA into an agarose gel. Agarose is porous, so the DNA can like wiggle its way through it. And the DNA wiggles its way through when we send an electric current through it. It runs to red. So the further the DNA is fragmented, the smaller the DNA fragments are, right? So the smaller ones are able to wiggle further through than the larger ones, which will be up at the top. And you'll also always have either your control or the strand that you're comparing it to. So let's do number 2. I feel like number 1's fairly easy, and number 2 there was some questions on yesterday. The picture shows a segment of DNA from a cat, or no, sorry, it wasn't number 2, it was number 3. Mrs. Smith has a baby named Tyra. She believes one or two men can be the father of her child. A paternity test is done and the result is shown here. Which of the 2 men is the baby? Sorry, is the baby father, not the 2 men is the baby, is the baby daddy. One thing you can do is I personally have to zoom in on these to look at them. And the way I set it up is I look at the baby and then I look at mom first and say, okay, got this one, got that one-ish, and that one doesn't really match, but it's close. So then I go to the dads, potential dads. Do they line up here? Here's 1 for dad number 1. Here's a second one that's identical. So that's 2. For this one, I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3. So dad number 2 only has 2 segments that match, and dad number 2 has 3 segments that match. Also, if I combine dad 2 and mom, all of them are covered. So dad number 2 is Tyra's father, so I would type dad number 2 right there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask the Biotech 2 kids. They've done this before, they really enjoy it, and they'd be happy to help you. If you get lost on anything, please send me an email. There is no Zoom today, and I'll post that in an announcement. Hope y'all have a great day.